Good evening, guys. How it be now? Una dey see me abi? How the visuals? How the audio? Hopes everything sharp. So now we dey here now. Me na share the live now. Me na share and reach people. Then me na comment. Me na like them. You know. Also on your WhatsApp status, help us put on there. Mo will see how they be. How many we even dey for this live like this? We'll just use another 3 minutes. Stay wait. See how many people go join. How many will be for this live? God saved me. How far now? I'm not reviewing the assignment. Una we submit late. Maybe another time. We are far behind, so we need to rush. I'm not talking. That's why you can't hear anything. No, I'm just waiting for more people to join. Good evening, everybody. Yes, join. Join. Even if na HTML, you still the learn. Just join. Okay, let's start now. Since we can't keep waiting for too long, time don't already go. So let's start. Uh, make I. Today we'll be learning HTML measurements. As HTML, CSS measurements. So we'll go learn all those measurements. Why don't the sponsor we'll go learn. Now today we'll go learn now like this. So let's see. How many are we in live, Seth? So I say in live. How many are we that are live on YouTube? So so we are 26. Okay. The list keep dropping every day. So I guess other people are having better things to do with their life than this one. So yeah. Somebody asking if the backend class has started. Backend class started for the people that already know JavaScript. You will see it on my YouTube. That's for the set I trained in 2022. If you already know JavaScript, go and start learning that one. Okay, so let me share the screen. Let me, yeah. Okay. So there's this material I love using. I use it since 2022. I was comparing with others. Maybe it is outdated or not. But guess we are still good. Okay, so we go learn CSS measurement. They generally call them CSS units. That's why this one says CSS unit guide. Now by Free Code Camp. I think Niger Code Pad need to write their own. Osato, I don't know whether Osato they live. Osato, I think you need to create something like this so that we know that it is Niger Code Pad's own by default. Okay, so let's go on. So they say CSS EM, CSS REM, CSS VH, CSS VW, and more explained. And I remember I said I give an assignment to check what it be VH and VW. Am I right? Una read them. Una read them. Una way the people who say me they do this thing. Nobody they answer again. Una read what I say me na read. Okay, who go sharply give me for comment section? Wait it be VH. Hey, Tony Aztec, how far now? If I say till next week before I go review our assignment, we are far behind. So I want quickly cover up. Okay, Tony Aztec, use every reader. So wait it be VH, wait it be VW. May somebody put down for comment section. Okay, I know Luaton say VH is viewport of the width. Nah, that's wrong. VH is not viewport of the width. Hey, Miss History about Nigeria, have fun. Good evening. Yes, somebody said view height. Vertical height. Yes. So, but it's not vertical height. It means the viewport height. So, but it means maybe some of them, they even Google now, but that's fine. Before we reach that point, let's start. This ones, they started, okay, they say, I think this is visible enough now. I don't need to open and may we do this thing. May we see where we see where I be. Yes, VH is the viewport of the height, but let's go on. They say many CSS properties like width, margin, padding, and font size take a length, and CSS has many different ways to express length. So, of course, many different ways means many different units to express them. Divan Sarobo Adogba say VW unit represent 1% of the viewport width. Exactly, this one check and wear. While VH represent 1% of the viewport height. Thank you very much. So if one VH is 1%, that means that 100 VH will be 100%, right? But we'll get there. Okay, so they say they get many measurements you need to take. They check for CSS. They get points. They get centimeter. They get many things. They can say in CSS, pay attention to this place. In CSS, length is a number. A unit with no white space. For example, 5 pixels is 0.9 em and so on. It means the space without any white space. So you can say there are two general kinds of units used for length and size in CSS. They say they get absolute length units, and then and then they get relative length units. So pay attention. This thing what I want to teach you today, in fact, now only I go teach today. It go lay the foundation of the future of your web development for design. Pay attention. No play with them at all. Today class, this foundation is very important. That's why I say I take my time before I teach us other things before we reach here. Now they say so there are two types of measurements, kinds of measurement in CSS. By measurement, they say length and size measurement. They say absolute length, and then they get relative length. Don't forget. Okay, now, absolute length units are based on an actual physical unit. So, what do I mean? I say the absolute length, they based on actual real life measurement. Like maybe 1 meter or 1 feet or 1 centimeter will be physical, will be measured on top table or ground. You understand? That's why they say absolute length units are based on actual physical units and are generally considered to be the same size across devices. So now the same size everywhere. So if they say 1 feet for ground physically, if you say 1 feet inside web development, it will still equal to that 1 feet with the physical. It go there and it will be 1 feet for all devices. Hope you understand. A very simple thing to understand. Okay, so they can say, however, depending on your screen size and quality or settings in your browser or operating system, OS, there may be some exceptions. So depending on your device, depending on your screen size, the quality of your screen, and your browser settings and your operating system, some small differences fit there. For example, now waiting gaming monitor go display go different from normal paper screen monitor. Now that kind of thing that they talk. Like even the way they use iPhone and Android, you go see the way iPhone go display something and the way Android go still display them. You understand? That's what it be. Again, if you see the way Opera go display something, what is that they call them? Chrome fee also display them differently. When I remember that time we will get Internet Explorer. That one they always display things nonsense. That year. Okay, so they can say here are common absolute measurements or absolute length units in CSS. So everything we know about measurement are just based on length. Okay. Wait first, before I continue, now understand this thing, read this point, right? May now answer me quick, time they go. Men are they like the live now. Nobody they even like the live so that other people go feel even benefit. Anyways, tell me, do you guys understand it to this point? You now understand at this point, you. Okay, okay. So some people don't say yes. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so just pay attention. So they say here are some common absolute units in CSS. First one, the one we would always they use, the pixel, PX. The most popular one we would always they use. Let me increase the font so that we can see it well. So pixel we would always they use. The pixels or PX are one of the most common length units in CSS. Of course, we use it every day. Pay attention. In CSS, 1 pixel is formally defined as 1/96 of an inch. Now here they show. Anyways, all other absolute length units are based on this definition of a pixel. Number 1, all other measurements or absolute measurement, not relative now, are based on this pixel measurement. So they say 1 pixel is formally defined as 1/96 of an inch. Do you people understand what this means? Let's go to Grok, one of my AIs. Let's check something out. I Premier Network open now. So let's say, watch me. I will copy this sentence. In CSS, 1 pixel is formally defined as 1/96 of an inch. Okay. So, can you please, why are they even begging? Can you explain in simple terms, not more than 20 words, what this phrase means? Okay? Thank you. In CSS, 1 pixel equals 1/96 of an inch, a standard unit for digital displacement measurement. Meaning the explanation where those people give us is even simple enough because it's still repeated. So, what is 1/96 in decimal? There's a way I want to break it down so you understand. Okay, so very good. So 1/96 in decimal is approximately 0.01 blah blah blah. So meaning they said if we have 1 inch like this. Okay, so if we say 1 pixel, we can say 1 pixel is equals to 0. Just watch. Una we know mathematics or to break it down to be very simple. So 0.01041666667. Let me ask it. Is that what it means? Yes. So it says correct. So meaning 1 pixel is equals to, let me copy this grammar back. So meaning 1 pixel is equals to so blah 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 inches. We will not even say inches because you know reach 1. This is less than 1. Even if you approximate and say it's still almost like 0. You understand? So what they are saying here is 1 pixel is defined, or 1 pixel is equals to 0.01 blah 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 inch. You now understand? Let me place it in the comment section. And you know why they use inches now? Because inches is the closest physical measurement you can use to compare. And remember, let me take you back here to the beginning. When they say absolute units are based on an actual physical unit, you remember? They say based on an actual physical unit. That's why they are using inches, because you have used feet, but the most common one is inches physically. Okay, so then I say, and are generally considered to be the same size across devices. What that means now is, since pixel is equals to 0.01 blah 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 of an inch. It means that, and they said it's the same thing across all devices, meaning if we give this thing font size 16 and we display them on, let's say, a very, very small device, like a small POS system, it go still take that size. The way it go far, I go show us just now. The way it go far reach, it go still take that size. Because they say it maintains the same size across all devices. Then I say, so also we understand this paragraph over there, this place, this is where we analyze just now. Hope we understand read this point. Let me know in the comment section. Me na comment and quick, move forward. I don't want to make mistake for this class. This thing lays your foundation from now onward in your CSS web development measurement. You now understand? Now, why are they slow to respond now? Sure. Pius, good evening. Okay, 2 people, 3 people say they understand it's sharp. Okay. All right. So let's go on. The course say, but when that standard was originally formulated, pay attention. Most monitors, they say most monitors, that's monitor, that's screen. Let me show you monitor. I increase this in maybe big well. Most monitor, they mean this my own screen. When I see this screen, I wait this one, this particular screen, now what do they mean this screen? So now then they call monitor, or your laptop screen like this my own. So now they call monitor. Okay, let's go back. Let's make it smaller. Okay, so then I say, but when the standard was, that's this standard, so this standard, when it was originally formulated, most monitors had a resolution of this. When I know it to be resolution now, like when they say 1920 by this one, Mohammed say you don't still go convert and go centimeter. No confuse us, I beg. So, so now we get 1920 by 1080. We still get 1080 by 1920 and blah blah blah. You know, no resolution. We can't get 4K, 2K. Some people say 8K day now. You know, like that. So they say those days, this whole formulation, this idea was created when monitors were still on this kind of resolution. And a DPI, that dots per inch. DPI means dots per inch of 96. So you go see, say when they create this law or when they formulate this thing, now, oh, it don't pass, time don't go. As in, now olden days, when technology never still improve well. So now they not say screens on modern devices have much higher resolution and DPIs. You see, because of course, even this my own self. This my screen where you see for here now. It's 4K. Yes, I think it's 4K because now gaming monitor. It's about 4K. So this law no follow. Now understand this law so not follow. In fact, let me show you something. Let's go to my display. Let's go to my display settings. I'm opening my settings on my system. Coming. I want to show you guys something. Let's go to my display. Now, you see my laptop monitor. See here, now be this one. Oh, may not pay attention. Now be this one. So let's go down. I want to see where they would You see my display resolution. See where they are display. You see, I'm using 1920 by 1040. And look, my scale. Look at scale. Is on 125% because my screen now 4K screen. If I put them for 100%, it go be very small. So it's on 125%. So it's in 1920 by 1080. Now look at which one they even talk for here. They say 1024 by 768. Make I show now. 1024. See, look at it. The lowest. That's the lowest. See, you see all the list, but look at is the lowest. 1024 by 768. That is the lowest. And they said that pixel definition of 196 of an inch was based on that 1024 by 768. So you see, the idea is that it was developed when technology was still very primitive. So let's move on. The concept screens on modern devices now have much higher resolutions, like the one I just showed you now, and DPIs. So a line that's 96 pixels long may not measure exactly 1 inch. You see, so it is depending on the device. Even though sizing in pixels can vary across devices, you see, it is generally considered better to use pixels for screens. So you see what they talk? They say even when they know, say, Tony Aztec, yes, free code camp, they're amazing, you know. Now I'm modeling Niger code paddy after them. That's why they talk, say this website, I told him to go do this kind of documentation for us too, in our own pidgin English. Okay. So free code camp don't help all of us live, or even including me that year. Okay, so let's move on. So they say even though pixel will not be different based on the screen resolution, the type of screen, the product, and blah 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 blah. They say it is still advisable to use pixel according to them. But I will tell you, I will not say anything now. But as you develop, as you grow in this skill, maybe let me say like in 6 months times, in 1 year, in 2 years, I will let you make this decide by yourself. To me, this statement is not true personally, out of experience. So I'll let you decide that one. Okay, so they say if you know that your page will be printed, pay attention to this place. So if you know that your page will be printed on a high quality printer, then you may consider using another unit like centimeter or millimeter. You see where that one they enter now? They say if you know, say, okay, you create website. Maybe like website where they create now, like website where we say they feel print something, come on, maybe like all those on a jump website where they go print document, come and print result and all those things. Hey, Jeremiah Alpha. Now they say if now that kind one, make sure say what you they use now centimeter or millimeter. Because you know say paper, A4 paper and the rest now centimeter and millimeter they calculate them. Even if you check your printer, you go see them. You go tell you now you take the measure them. You understand? If you are not following me and you are attending this live, please follow me. Is it follow now? Be subscribed. So that is in a TikTok I did. Please subscribe and then yeah, let's go on and keep liking this thing. Osato say it's not true at all. Hey, exactly. Now they talk. As they walk, you go no say it's not true. Okay, so let's keep going. So centimeter and millimeter. So now, there's now say you can also read about the history of the pixel unit and why a CSS inch doesn't always match a physical inch in this article. It is your choice if you want. Okay, now so they now say centimeter, millimeter. So, but you see all this one, all this centimeter, all this millimeter, all these inches, all these points, all these pickers. I'm sorry to say this live, but na bullshit to me. You know, makes sense. You might end up not using it in your entire life. So, but take note for this place. Say, if you know, say what you go do, what you they do, go they printed. Make sure say you use centimeter and millimeter. So, yeah. So that's why. So the most important this thing to us in this absolute length unit, now pixel. And one thing you should take away is they will be the same on all screen as the way it will be physically. That's by measurement. Now I talk. So let's now go on. Let's now go to relative length. Now in CSS, now this thing is supposed to be important to you. Let me tell you what it should be important. Everything about relative length and then pixel. Now those ones you need to know where. So let's go on. They say relative length units are relative to another element size. Take note. This says it all. If you have this at the back of your mind, you are good. Relative, from the names of relative element. So relative length units are relative to another element size or setting. So they don't have their own size per se. The size is dependent on the size of another element. You understand? But I will show you this one. I will show you example by code. I think I even need to show you example by code too with this pixel, not just story. Let's open our Visual Studio Code. Let me open my Visual Studio Code to show us some things quickly. Because I thought maybe you should pass attendance. Let me use another one, index 2, to show us the example. You say even you they feel this class or Sato. Okay, so I'm creating a new file. I want to show us that pixel. When they say it will be the same thing everywhere as physical, both on smaller device, it will be the same thing. So let me show you. Let's create our normal HTML5 syntax. Oh yeah, my AI can't come on. If type, I beg you, God. Let's wait. I for don't type this thing finish. Oh, I beg. I do my HTML and if it shouts. So let's do the head. So let's close the head. Yep. Then let's do the body. Yep. So we are good. Let's remove all these jabajantis. This. I will just write style sheet. I go write the sheet and the CSS inside. So we'll pay attention. Let me have a div. Watch. Just pay attention. Pay attention. I'm going to this div now. I'm just going to write a CSS, inline CSS on it straight. So I'm going to say background color should be blue. Watch. And I'm going to say width should be 500 pixel. It's pixel. I want to show you. Height should be 500 pixel. Then what else? I think that's basically what I need. So let me go live. Let's see what it looks like. Now you see this? You see this, right? Now let's reduce the size. Like we want to see if it's going to adjust according to the screen size. Or maybe even a mobile. You see, say, okay, let me make it bigger so that we can see it properly. Let me make the width 600 pixel. Now, watch as I reduce them. You see, say, it no reduce. Now, let's scroll, if you scroll. It no reduce at all. See, it no reduce. At all. Let me show you one with, if I use like 50%. Pay attention with me, oh. Watch, oh. This is 50% of the big screen. Watch that if I reduce them, you see say it go they reduce. Still they take as I they enlarge they reduce. They take only 50% of the screen size or of the browser size. But if I use the pixel 600 pixel, you see that if I like make I reduce, it go remain that exact size. That's what they were saying about absolute units. I hope you will understand now with this thing. So. Does it make sense? It makes sense? May I answer quick time they go. Okay, that's fine. Since it makes sense. So let's go on to relative elements. So like I said, they say relative units are relative to, relative units, sorry. Relative units are relative to another element size or settings. So anything where you give relative length or units, their measurement is not finite, it's not fixed. It is dependent on the measurement of another element. We go see them in action now, but let's keep reading. Because for example, the relative font size, the relative font size of an element may be calculated using the parent element font size. So they say the size of a child might be dependent on the size of its parent. So just like if mama and papa fat, they go definitely feel born pikin way fat. So the size of the pikin depend on the size of the parents. That's what this one is saying. It's the font size of an element may be calculated using the parent element font size. Now, so let's keep going. They now say here are some common relative elements. So what's the difference between absolute length unit and relative length unit? Absolute length units are permanent. They are fixed on different devices. They go take that measurement when you give them, both for real life and inside screen. But relative length, their measurement depends on the measurement of their parent or another element around them. So let's see it in practice. So the first one is EM. The CSS EM unit gets its name from what did I press? Oh, okay, sorry. The EM element gets its name from a typographical unit. Typographical unit. They say in typography, the term EM was originally a reference to the width of the capital M in the typeface and size being used. We don't care about that one. They're just telling us where it came from. We don't care. They see where you should care. They just say when used with font size. That's if you use EM now, when it is used with font size property, EM inherits the font size from its parent element. Font size 200 EM. That 200 EM is dependent on the size of its own parent. Just give you 200 back like that. It depends on the size of its own parent. Let's look at it. Let's pick this their example. Let's copy this and let's go into our file. Let's have a style here. Let's have a style here. Let's put this container stuff here. This is their container. Let me just close this. Let me remove all this style of this one I was showing you guys. So now let me give this container, this div class container. Okay, now so there's paragraph, there's H2, there's H3. So there's H2, there is paragraph, there's H3. That's what I need, right? There's also paragraph. Let me remove all these ones first. Okay, now so look at the example. Let me explain it. If you see, we have a parent called container, right? And this is the parent, that's the class. So we have H2, we have a paragraph, we have H3, we also have a paragraph here. Anyhow, we just get. So they now say, they give the container, which is the entire div. They give the container font size of 16 pixel. You see, it is in pixel, not in another measure. So it's an absolute measurement. But now pay attention. They now gave the paragraph, all the paragraph inside the container, font size of 1 EM, right? They gave the font size of, they gave the H2 inside the container 3 EM. They gave the H3 2 EM. Let's look at it live. Let's see what it looks like. Now this is it. Pay attention. Oh. So this is the, let me see. This is the H2, right? And this is the H3, right? Would they pay attention? They watch now. Now let's watch this. Let's watch this container permanent side. This one that is 16 pixel. Let's make it, look at this very well. Maybe look at it. See the size. Oh, look at the size very well. Let me change the size of this 16 pixel. Take note. I'm not changing the size of the EMO. I'm not changing the size. I'm changing the size of this pixel of the container. Watch. I'm going to change it to like 40. Watch. Let's come here. Do you see that the font size of the H2, the paragraph, H3, paragraph that are in EM has increased too? Do you see? So you see that even these measurements, they don't really matter. So far you use EM, the measurement, the size is dependent on the size of the parent, on the font size, general font size you give the parent. That's what they were saying here. Where is it? That when used with font size property, EM inherits the font size from its parent element. Hope it makes sense. Hope you are not lost. So if I keep the size of this one, if I bring it down, if I bring it down to like 10, you go see say it goes small where. And we are not touching the font size of the H2 paragraph and the rest. We are just changing the font size of the parent, which is in pixel. So what is the takeaway? When you use EM for measurement, that measurement will depend on the size of its parents, the font size of its parents. Hope say we understand this thing. It's not hard. Hope it is understood. May not tell me for comment section. May not they like the life. Who now understand? Nobody don't mention. Now only Balogun saying you understand. Other people no understand. Okay, sharp. You sink where? Because I told you don't pass the attendance, Abi. So let's go on. Okay, so now this is the explanation of the example, but I don't show now already. So they can say if EM is used with another property like width, EM is calculated using the size of the targeted element. So just like font size, you still take the size of the targeted. So let's go. Now the next one are REM. Take note, this one are EM. Then the second one are REM. So you see say they resemble. Now almost the same thing, but just be say this REM means root EM. Osato say question. Asking for a friend. Must the parent unit always be in pixel? No. No. It mustn't always be in pixel. Whatever measurement will you give them. Okay, so rem means root EM. This relative unit is not affected by the size or settings of a parent element. Take note, EM before is affected by the size of its own parent. But they now say root EM, which is REM or REM. This one is not affected by the settings of its parent element. They say it is instead based on the root of the document. Bam. And then they say for websites, the root of the document is the HTML. The HTML element. So let's look at our code. The root of every website is this HTML. They say I'm because that's the root, that's the parent, that's where it starts from. So okay, Sam Claude, you said parent unit, if not defined, will take the default parent size. Yes, and you know say the default parent size is mostly where that one they say. Default parent size is mostly 16 pixel by default. So let's look at this first. That is true. The question when you ask, they're very valid. This is what it looks like. I be normal with that 16 pixel. Let's not give it 16 pixel. Let's see what happens. You see that it didn't change. Because fonts by default, if you don't give a measurement, now 16 pixel. By default, that's how it works. So you are correct, Sam Clough. I know, Luwatosin, you are asking me what is EM gong. You don't see when I read them, they say it's based on the name, but it's not even important. What do you want to use and do? They say is where they say it's based on the name of a typography of capital letter M. Look at here. In fact, let me copy this website and give you people so that you can also read it later. I don't put the website for comment section. In fact, let me make a pin them. I don't put the website for comment section so that later you can read it by yourself too. Okay, so let's go on. Okay, now so where's that one safe? Now rem, they can't say for rem it is not dependent on any parent element, it is dependent on the root element. And the root element, like I showed you, is the HTML element. So it is dependent on the size of this root element. Bam, nothing more. So they say if you give P font size of 1.25 rem, in most browsers, the default font size is 16. You remember as I told you, as I just told Samson now. In most browsers, the default font size is 16. So the font size of HTML element by default is 16. So in this case, P is 20 pixel, which is 16 times 1.25. Let me explain in case I don't lose. Let me explain. They say if we give something, a paragraph 1.25 rem, it means it is, since it is root element, because it means root EM, it is dependent on the value of the HTML that is the root. And they say the default value of HTML is 16. So that will now be like 16 times 1.25. Except you, okay, let me just show you practically. Let me remove, let's use this same one. Then let me not use the measurement for, okay, this one is 16, very good. Let's use this same one. Let me change this one that is 1 EM. Let me change it to 1 rem. Watch, let's go back to the site. So 1 rem, which one did you change to 1 rem now? That's the paragraph. No, I don't want to use the paragraph. Let me use the one that is visible, the H2. Yes, the H2. Let me change it to 1 rem. So you see, no changes, Abi. Let's see. Since it's rem and they say it's dependent on the root element and not the parent, let's increase the parent and see if it will change. You see, in fact, let me use something greater. Let's use 40. You will see that the H2 that is in rem will not change because it's not dependent on the root element. So watch. You see, say every other thing done big. In fact, even H3 will get 2 EM way small. Into done big because it is dependent on the size of the container. But this one will give REM, so H2 remained the same size because it is now not dependent on the parent. They said it is dependent on the root element. Wait, let me read the comment where Tonio's Tech put. This is exactly why I wanted you to check my assignment because of measurement. It's looking very okay on my system, but I want to see how it will look on your own screen if it will be scattered or intact. Okay, we'll check it on Wednesday then. Okay, so you see, say since this one they dependent on the root element, nothing do am, even as they increase the size of the container. But now let's now say we increase the size of the HTML. No, we can call HTML directly like this. Is a tag. And then let me say, say by default, they say the font size now 16 by default, 16 pixel, right? Nothing will still happen. She say no happen. But let's increase the font size of the HTML. Let's use like 40. Let's see what happens. You see, say this one come big now. because rem is dependent on the root element. You see say in come big as we change and nothing can do these ones. You see because these ones are dependent on their own parent, which is container, but rem is dependent on the root element. Does it make sense? Before I continue, it makes sense because this is very simple. It makes sense. When I answer me, it makes sense. Now, while nobody don't answer, the thing they lag. Okay, so let's move on. So that's all about the rem. EM is dependent on parent. Rem is dependent on the root. Period. That's just the difference. That's why when you are creating, I'm teaching you these things now because we are moving into creating web responsive website. That's website that will even when you create it for desktop, when you are viewing it on phone, it will rearrange by itself because of the measurement you use. Okay, so let's go on. Now the next one, percentage. They say percentages or the percent size relative to parent size. So they say percentage too is relative to the parent size. Yes. And percentage is even easy because as you hear on percentage, it makes a whole lot of sense. Let me show you. Percentage just very simple. Let me show you. Very, very simple. Let's say we have this div now. Watch oh. This div now. Let me remove all this. I want to have another div inside. Let me remove all this CSS. So now, first of all, I will say container. I want to have container first. That's the parent. I want to give it with watch oh, with 600 pixel. Watch. And then the height should be 400 pixel. And then the background color should be blue, just like we did before. Now let's look at it. We don't get an here, B. It's pixel, so it's not responsive. It is exactly. I know Oluwatosin said you be Agba teacher. It is sync. You teach people. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so you see, we use pixel, so that is 600 pixel. Now let me give this is child another class. Let me give it class container child. Let's give it like that. So I'm going to come here and say dot container child. What do I want to do with it? I want to give it let's give it background color first of red so that we can see it. Let's give it width of 200 pixel, yeah. Then let's give it height of the same 200 pixel. No, not auto. 200 pixel. Yeah. Now let's see it. Okay, so now see Abi. So this is width 200 pixels and a height 200 pixels. Now watch. What if I don't want to give it 200 pixel for the width? Just watch. Why I want to show you percentage. Now the percentage is also dependent on its parent. What if I give it, watch, 50%? You see that 50% is half of the parent. Why didn't it take 50% of the entire screen? Because it is dependent on the immediate parent, to just like EM that is dependent on the font size of its parent. If you use percentage, it's also dependent on the measurement of its own parent. So as I say 50%, no matter what happens, it will always take 50% of its parent. You see? If I say 100%, it will take 100% of its parent, not 100% of the screen. Whereas if I come outside here and I have div, another div, that's outside though, and I give this one class outside, let me just say outside, and I come here and say dot outside, watch, and I say width should be 100%, watch, oh, height should be 200 pixels, and then background color should be green, watch. You see that this one that I gave 100%, that is not inside here. When I see say it full the entire screen, because 100%, it takes the 100% of the screen. You understand? Whereas this red one I also gave 100%. Look at it, I gave it 100% too. Only take this size because it is dependent on the size of its own parents. Hope that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. May I tell you now, understand, Abi? So that I can continue with other ones. You now understand, Abi? When I know what we will soon finish class. We don't want to finish the most important one. This other one no concern us. People like say network slow. Oh yeah, now sharp. We don't finish percentage with that. So let's go to VW. You see they say view width. One view, watch, oh, one view width. We are in VH now. They say one view width is equals to 1% of the width of the viewport. So one view width is equals to 1%. So one view width is equals to 1%. So 100 view width will be 100%. But they now say, see the clause. They say it is of the width of the viewport. So what will be viewport? Now, let's ask Grok. In fact, let's not go too far. It's just that my co-pilot did it very slow here. If I say, what is viewport? Let's ask this one too. So what is viewport in CSS? So they said view width, which is VW, is one view width is equal to 1% of the width of the viewport. So what will be viewport? Oh, I noted this guy. A simple answer. I just go back. You say in CSS the viewport refers to the the visible area of a web page within a browser window or device screen. Then I say excluding UI elements or browser UI elements like toolbar, that's all these ones, scroll bars or navigation bars and the blah 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 blah. So viewport now just waiting you feel see at that time for the browser. So from here now minus all this our browser this from here to here now to this place like this. That's our from here to here, from left to right. Wait till you see, so that's our viewport width. That's our viewport. Then from up to down, that's our viewport height. So what you are seeing presently that is visible, that's the viewport. So now this now makes sense. Then I say one view width is 1% of the width of the viewport. That's just what differentiates it from a percentage. Not the entire browser. They said only where is visible. So if now only small part they visible based on your device, that's the viewport. So that's why they now say normally body is equals to 100 viewport. We will not say 100% because it's depending on what you are seeing. You understand? So they now say since the element is set to 100 viewport or 100% of the viewport width, you see, because one view width is equals to 1% viewport width. It will take up to the full width available to it. Do you understand? I don't want to read further here because this one will be confusing to you. Now just viewport be the clause we differentiate them for pure percentage. Then view height, the same thing. View height, one view height is also equal to 1% of the height of the viewport. For example, 50 view height. Very good. I love this. This is the perfect example. Let's come to our HTML to explain the viewport. Now let me clean this. Let me just have only the container. Let me clean all these ones. Good. So now watch. I go say the width is 100 VW. That's like 100% but of the viewport, right? Then watch. Oh, I will now say watch. Height. Watch. Is equals to 100. Sorry, what am I writing? And I say height is equals to 100%. Just watch what will happen. Let's go to our form. You see, say nothing happen. As I say, height is equals to 100%. Let me write something inside. You see, the width shows in a 100% width, but the height is not showing. Why? Because what we are seeing is the viewport. We cannot say the height is 100% and it will not fill the screen, because we can still put content and it will keep scrolling. So we cannot say that's 100%. But if I now give it 100 view height, you see, say full, because that is what we are seeing. Because that is what we are seeing. That 100 view height is static with the CM. But if we say 100%, we cannot say what we are seeing is the entire 100%. Because if you can't the right content, you can't grow. We go half of that one. So I would say we're going to say 1050%. No. You also want to understand. Because this one this dice one kind. Hope it makes sense. Hope it makes sense. Una understand them? Oh, sharp. Since now understand. So all these ones no matter. I don't care about this one. It don't matter. It don't mean anything. So since you now understand, that's fine. That makes a whole lot of sense. As I just in a chakal. Okay, so I want to quickly show you people something. Where will I show itself? Do I have it anywhere here? Where I even get this thing self? Let me see. Hold on, guys. I want to show you people something quick. Let me show you people something quick. I'm coming, oh. The farmers are Arugo Adoga. You say you don't understand. You blast say you watch this class again, no. I'm coming. I want to show you guys something. So, this is what I want to show you guys. This is a program coming up on September 29th. So, in case you get funds, you want to register now full stack, now both front end and back end, and you see now 12 months, now 1 year. So if you want to do them physically, you won't come to my office, that's $400. You want to do them virtually online, now $500. You won't come physically, maybe they come from another state, then you don't get house. You want more get your accommodation, everything will be $600. So your $200 will use and run your accommodation for you. So that in case, you know, see the way they teach you now. So imagine say if I do the one way that they pay this kind of money, you're going to say, nah, that one wicked. Even me, don't they cook for the matter since. So this is full stack, now both front end and back end. And then you have the option of picking your own back end. Because of course, you know, say front end now, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React. But you have the option of picking your own back end. If not PHP Laravel you want to use, or you want to use Node.js and JavaScript and Next.js, or maybe you want to pick, what they call them, .NET, or you want to pick Python, Django, now your choice. So I just say make I show now. I been no one show now before, but I can say, person feel they maybe we go prefer this one. I say make I show now. If they start on the 29th, now just 20 people will define. Right now, I think we have about 16, if I'm not mistaken. Now only 4 slots remain. So if you're interested, send us at ODM. May they package you up. Okay. So that being said, I think that's the end of this class. So see you guys. Hope all of you don't sign attendance. Yes, you guys can always come back and watch the video since it's recorded. I will upload it this night or tomorrow. Okay, so I say upload is already DSF, sorry. So see you guys. Bye.